Conversation is what has been irking me every single year. Every single year, this irks me. Jumpers, get off your toes. Get flat footed. First thing, that's not this video, but it's going to be wear the right shoes. If you're not wearing the correct shoes, you're going to end up in a place where you could potentially injure yourself. Seriously. Do not jump in sprint spikes. Wear jumper spikes. If you do long and triple, then I suggest that you buy triple jump spikes. If you do long, triple, and high jump, you need high jump spikes, and I suggest you jump both horizontal jumps in triple jump spikes. If you only do long jump, then you can use triple jump or long jump spikes. If you do long jump and high jump, you need long jump spikes and you need high jump spikes. They cost a lot of money. Invest in yourself. But I tell you right now, the $140 that whatever shoes cost now will be a lot less than you losing a year or two because you're not healthy. You can never get that back. Or having a stress fracture, or injuring yourself, or just having shin splints because you're wearing the wrong footwear. Okay? So take that into consideration. Okay? The next thing, when it comes down to this topic of the video, what are the reasons that an athlete is having these type of injuries, shin splints, and not jumping as far? It's because the coaches are using verbiage that is right, but not explained in detail enough so that the athlete can perform correctly. So when you're running, the coaches are always saying, I need you on the balls of your feet. I need you on your toes. The issue with that is all jumping events are not from your toes. You're from a flat foot. Your foot must be flat when you jump. So first I'm going to start with on your toe running. Okay. Now, in order to move your physical body, you need a sturdy surface. We're going to call that the ground. Okay. In order to move your physical body somewhere else, you must have this physical hard surface that doesn't move, that we're going to use as the ground for now. We're going to push the ground a specific direction. If the ground doesn't move, our body does. Then our body will move in the opposite direction that we are pushing. So if I have a wall next to me and I push that wall, right? The wall doesn't move. I'm going to now move away from that wall. Now I've moved my physical body somewhere else. Okay? Now if I want to stand upwards, I'm going to push the ground downwards. The ground doesn't move, I move. I'm going to move upwards in my motion. So when it comes to running, I want to push the ground backwards to push me forwards. My action is backwards push. My reaction or outcome is a forward movement. Okay? Now, this is the formula of running. The more force you can create into a static object, the more force you're able to produce in the direction that you want to go. Okay? Now, when I am flat-footed, I'm more stable. When I'm more stable, I'm able to produce the most amount of force because I have less variables working against me. Okay? Or working with me. More variables. Either way. Okay? So now if I'm squatting, I want to squat flat-footed with both feet into the ground, so I have both legs pushing into the ground to send the weight upwards. Got it? If I use one leg and do the same squat, I'm going to produce theoretically half the amount of strength that I can produce with both. Right? So now when you're running out of the blocks, you want to push the ground down and away in one direction, backwards is the one direction, with both feet. So now when I generate force, it's using both feet to start by pushing the ground away to send my body weight in a forward direction. Okay? So when you're using blocks, you want to use both feet. You want to jump out of the blocks. Jump does not mean up. Jump is an explosive push. Jump means you're pushing so hard that your body is leaving what it was initially on. So if your blocks are at 42 degrees, you're jumping away from the 42-degree block. Okay? All right, so that's the science behind it. The harder you push the ground away, the faster you're going to move in the other direction. Okay? This also includes you're going to jump further, you're going to run faster. Okay? Now, obviously, the cadence, how often you're creating this force is very important, because the higher cadence or higher frequency, you're able to produce this force the faster you run, which ultimately means that you're running less steps. The math equation is there. Your force, your frequency, that equals an overall speed, which means your time will ultimately be less. Okay? Follow me on this one. So now, when I'm running, when I want to run, I can't push the ground backwards if my ankle angle is at 90 degrees. Okay, I wish I had like something to draw on. But I need to tilt my overall body 2 to 5 degrees forward. Now what that does when I am standing straight, here's my ankle. If I tilt this 2 to 5 degrees forward, my heel comes off the ground 2 to 5 degrees. Now I am on the balls of my feet, even though my ankle angle is still at 90 degrees. Okay? So now if you do the math, you have most of your foot on the ground. Ideally, you want to run just behind your ball of your foot. So between the arch of your foot and right between that and the ball of your foot. Like, I can't really show you, but if you have running shoes, there's an actual line that crosses there. It's the complete ball of your foot. But I like to run, I can say the athlete should be on the arch of their foot forward for running. Okay? When it comes to jumping, they're going to drop that heel down. Okay? Now, Dan Path speaks about this all the time. You want to run right behind the ball of your foot. Okay? That allows the stretch reflex of your Achilles and soleus to really get active and stretch to propel you forward. All right? But mentally, you're going to be flat-footed. 2 to 5 degrees forward, ankle angle is still the same, and you're being very aggressive there. Okay? When it comes to jumping, you do not want to use your ankle and Achilles and your soleus to be absorbing any weight at all. You want your glutes, your quads to absorb this actual load. Okay? So once you get to takeoff, you need to be flat-footed. Your whole foot is flat on the board or takeoff position. What's going to happen is once you land, you're going to use your glutes, because your hamstring is used to get down to the ground. Once it's on the ground, the hamstring shuts off. Then the glutes are going to be the primary trigger for this force production, right? Then you have your quads, which is the lower part of your leg. Then you have your calf and Achilles, which does the follow through. So when you do triple extension, you're extending all three of these joints, your hip, your knee, and also your ankle. They're going to follow through. Okay? It's very important that when you jump, you're flat-footed, because you're going to produce the most amount of force. You're more stable, and you're going to have a bigger, better outcome. Okay? So now, that's why I say with your spikes, if you're wearing sprint spikes with plastic bottoms, and you land on these plastic boards, good luck to you. I'll leave it at that. Okay? You got to be flat-footed. Also, if you're on your toe for a high jump and you come in on the ball of your foot or on your toes, your ankle is going to roll inside. And that injury is very tough to deal with. It's not good. Okay? It takes a long time to recover from that. So, get up your toes. Here's an example. I had an athlete last year that did a DBA. She improved, I think it was like 3 feet in triple jump. And, you know, she was on her toes a lot. And I was like, you got to get flat-footed. Long story short, she told me that at the end of the season, she improved the 3 feet in triple jump. But she said at the end of the season, she dealt with a stress fracture and had to wear a boot or whatever on her leg. Well, that was because she was landing on her toes. So this year she joined my virtual team, and she's not jumping until we fix that and she gets flat-footed. So I've given her specific drills to make sure that she's flat-footed, and she's going to see great improvement this year. There was an athlete that's now part of my virtual in-person team, but basically she was trained before. I didn't really coach her. I was more of a mentor for her, but she was very toey, and I was like, you got to get flat-footed. Like, you're not even my athlete, but I want you to focus on being flat-footed because it's going to be an issue in college if you don't fix this now. She didn't fix it. She ended up having to get surgery because the ankle, she had sprained some ligaments in her ankle, right? It's very important that, here's another extreme case. This girl went to a school near us in Southern California. I didn't coach her at all, never, just watched her jump. I was a fan of her. Very toey, went to a school, I won't say the school name, but the university, jumped well. She improved like almost a foot the very next year, freshman year. At the end of the season, torn Achilles. Your lower legs are not designed to absorb that much weight. Let your big muscles absorb the weight. Your smaller muscles finish through. Majority of your explosive power comes from your Achilles tendon. You cannot use that until your hip and your knee joints are completely extended. Let that follow through. The follow through of the Achilles and your calves are like your forearm, right? When I shoot a basketball, you don't flick your wrist until after your extension of your joints. It's the same concept when it comes to running and jumping. You're supposed to allow that leg to land in the position to where your big muscles load and you follow through from there. So if you're a jumper, get off your toes. I'll give you the story that I tell all my athletes. 2012, I sat with Willie Banks. I was literally in San Diego, and I was like, I want to pick your brain. Tell me what you know. He's talking to me about all these things. He's telling me the story about how he was competing against Jonathan Edwards, and he was like, I watched him jump, and I was like, wow, he's fast, right? And so Edwards is, I believe, 5'11", 150-something pounds, right? And also runs a 10.2. Willie Banks, 6'3" at the time, like 160, maybe 150. And he watched Edwards jump, and he was on his toes, right? And Willie Banks tried it, and in one track meet, in one jump, tore both Achilles. Now, this won't happen to you, right? However, you can prevent it by never being on your toes when you're jumping. You have to get flat-footed. If you're unsure about how to do it, if you're unsure about the drills you should be doing, check out my Jump 101 program at shopjump101.com or purchase a DVA from me. I will show you literally step-by-step how to adjust what's going on with you to make sure that you're safe and also help you improve, right? I say all this to kind of scare you guys into getting flat-footed. You're dealing with shin splints because either you're not strong enough or your mechanics are incorrect. And in most cases, athletes are dealing with both. Their mechanics are horrible and they don't know what they're doing, right? And they're not in shape, okay? So we can fix that by training you specifically on how to make sure you're strong to have a great season. I want to see you have a great season. I want to hear your success stories. I want to hear you say, hey, I watched your video. I fixed my form. Look at what I'm doing. I want to hear that, okay? I don't want to hear, oh, I got 5 athletes and they're all dealing with injuries right now. They're just not taking care of their body. No, you aren't telling them exactly what step-by-step they should be doing. So both for the coaches and athletes, I'm here as a resource for you guys. This video is designed to kind of wake you up and let's compete, all right? I got athletes that are doing really well. So do you guys. Let's have them compete and have lunch, right? The athletes, let's have you have a great experience by being healthy all season. Being healthy all season is a very, 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 very fun thing to be. All right, till next time.